Hey guys, it's Ollie from flightcomp, and I'm back. It's been a while since I've made one of these videos. I've been making some flying videos and contest videos, but not as many product videos as I would like to have made. It's just been crazy, it's been busy. Seems like I've had a contest almost every weekend, and now it's winter. It's holiday time for friends and family, and hopefully I can get a few weeks of break from contests and just relax a little bit and work on some planes that are on the bench that I haven't had a chance to build. But in saying that, the 2017 flying season has wrapped up for me, for most of us here in the States, and I'd say most people around the world. And we're going to look forward to the 2018 flying season, the contest season, and I thought I'd share some of the new products that we're going to offer for 2018. And on the bench is the Infinity NG from Bohuslav in Slovakia. I probably butchered his first name, so I'm not even going to attempt his last name because I'd probably do an even worse job on that. But the Infinity's been around for a couple years for F5J. The NG, the new NG version, is available in F3J and F5J, so the F3J version is new. The NG features a bunch of changes and refinements over the first iteration of the Infinity. I'll just give you guys some basic information about the model. It's 3.5 meters. There's only one wingspan option, so it's 3.5 meters. It's a two-piece plug-in wing like the Pikes, like the Perfections or the Dynamics. It's not a three-piece wing. It's hollow molded. It's not solid core wing. So in that sense, it's a little more traditional molding techniques. The F5J version comes in two layups or two laminations, the light and the performance. The light model, which I guess you could call the standard model, very low in weight. The light is around 42 to 44 ounces flying weight, or that's, well, I don't know what that is in grams, but you can convert it, you can do the math. And the performance, which features a little stiffer wing for obviously for the wind, that's about 47 to 49 ounces flying weight. So the light is very light. Obviously it's a slightly shorter wingspan, but it does have a fairly wide chord, so it does have some decent wing area. And the airfoil on the model is very thin, so the penetration should be good. I have not flown one yet, but I plan to, so we'll see how it goes. The F3J version comes in a standard and a light, so the standard version is about 61 to 63 ounces ready to fly. The standard version is extremely strong, good for high winds, for F3J launches and high winds. You can throw a bunch of ballast at it. The light version is 57 to 59 ounces ready to fly, which is actually really good weight for a F3J model. My first impressions of the Infinity are really good. The quality of all the parts is phenomenal. I especially love the fuselage. The quality and the craftsmanship in the fuselage is excellent. You're not going to really see much better workmanship in the parts. The new tails, which are for the NG, which are thinner, slightly different shape, and now solid core foam. The quality is very, very good. The wings, the build quality on the wings is excellent, and it has a few features that I like, and a few things that I don't like. But overall, the general quality of the model is very, very high, probably definitely on the higher end of the quality scale compared to other models. The model comes very complete with a lot of hardware and parts. That's why I think it represents a really good value. It doesn't matter which version you get wing covers and tail covers. You get extensive hardware pack, and you get quick change ballast rods or ballast sticks, which are really neat, and I'll show you that a little later in the video, how the ballast works. If you get the F5J version, you get the covers and the ballast, but you also get two wing joiners, so you get a standard joiner and a high degree joiner, so you can play around with those joiners and see which one works better for you. As of right now, the F3J version only comes with the standard joiner. Level of prefabrication is pretty high. It's going to be a fairly quick building model, so that's very nice. It features LDS in the wings. I'll go over that in more detail. Boslav uses Servorahmen IDS setup, so you can order the plane supplied with your servos of choice. That's a custom order, so the servos will be in the wing, everything's set up, ready to go, wire harnesses in there, ready to go. However, the models that we stock don't have the servos in the wings, so you have to supply your own servos and frames. But the Servorahmen IDS system is in the control surfaces already, and it's installed for you in the control surfaces. So all you have to do is order the Servorahmen IDS frames of your choice, get your servos, and just hook that up to the arms that are already installed in the wing. And again, I'll go over all that stuff for you guys. So that's the Infinity NG. Let's take a closer look at some of the parts. Here's a look at what's included with the Infinity models. You get 3 different size ballast bars with each model, and the ballast bars weigh 340 grams for the big one, 250 grams for the medium one, and 170 grams for the small one. With the F5J models, you get 2 wing joiners, low angle and high angle. These are really nicely made wing joiners. The finish is good on them. Some models, you know, sometimes when you get a Pike or some other models, you have to do a little bit of sanding and polishing to get the joiners to fit nicely. That's not the case with the Infinity. They fit right in, right from the get-go, so no work there. If you get the model without servos included, you get the servo covers. If you get the model with servos already installed in the wing, these covers are already taped on for you. You get the fuse side wire harnesses featuring 4-pin Dean's connectors. These are really nicely made. They have each side has just one signal wire on one plug, and obviously positive, negative, and signal for the other side. So they're fairly lightweight harnesses. For the F5J model, you get a few different G10 machined firewalls featuring various bolt patterns for various different motors. Probably fit a lot of the common motors out there. They actually are 2 different diameters, so there's a 30 and a 32 millimeter. So if you need to trim the nose back a little bit, you can. Or you can use a CNC machined aluminum or steel mount that are popular these days. You get a couple of couplers for the push rods in the fuselage and the associated clevises. You get a basic neutral setting for your wing. This is a template for your wing to get the neutral setting or 0 setting for your camber. So that's nice. These various servo trays are all included with the F5J models for different layout options, side by side, inline, and staggered like this. This G10 machine plate goes with this tray, and I'll put a picture in the video of how it's used, but it's basically like a quick change battery removal setup if you would like to use it. Puts the battery behind the servos. This hole here is for gluing in your plug off your ESC, your power plug, so you'd have the battery behind here with your lead and it would just plug directly into that, trying to make the system as quick as possible. You don't have to use this, you can use different trays or your own tray depending on what kind of layout you would like. And lastly, I have an example of one of the covers. This is the rudder cover. Very high quality. It's made by, I think it's made by the same manufacturer that provides a lot of the covers for various different model manufacturers. Good quality foam. It's pretty thick, thicker than some of the other covers that are supplied with other brands. So I think it's going to be a little more durable. Velcro straps. The stitching is very good. In general, just a very nice, durable, high quality cover that will keep your parts safe. These are the fuselages for the Infinity, the F3J and the F5J. I really like these fuselages. The shape is beautiful. The carbon looks gorgeous, and the craftsmanship and the quality is really nice. I'm really pleased with the fuselages on these models. We have F3J fuselage down here. You can see by the nose that it's for F3J. Now I've noticed that if you get the plane with the servos installed in the wing, that he goes ahead and installs the fuselage side harness inside the fuselage, so that's nice. I don't know if that's standard or he's just been doing it for a few models. I don't want to say it's standard, but I have noticed it on a few, and it's a really nice touch. The alignment pins are in the fuselage, they're not in the wing, so that's sort of unique. We'll take a look at the inside of the F3J fuselage. It's got a very nice plywood servo tray that's pre-installed. The bonding looks very good. The servo tray runs from the front here and goes all the way back here. Stops just in front of the wing joiner, so it really stiffens up the front of the fuselage. The F3J fuselage is 2.4 friendly. You can see the Kevlar in there. Again, a nice feature. Overall shape is really nice. It's very slim, easy to hold on to for F3J launches. I really like the layout of the fuselage. Real quick on the canopies, these canopy hold downs are pre-installed. They're carbon flat sticks, and they're fiberglassed in at a few points. They work really well. They're not going to come out. They're not going to get loose over time or break. Again, just another small touch you don't have to worry about when you build your model. The canopy's already taken care of for you, so that's a very nice feature. Go ahead and move to the F5J version. Basically the same thing, however, it's not 2.4 friendly, obviously. The nose is cut out roughly 30 millimeters. You can cut it back if you need to. It's got the same canopy hold down method as the F3J version. Nothing installed in the fuse, so you have to put your own tray in. Obviously the layout's a little more critical for your balance, and you can customize it depending on how you like to install and remove your flight packs. The push rods on both versions are, I think they're stainless, like hypodermic hollow tubes. They're not carbon. I'm not sure if carbon would be lighter or better, but these are very nice. They're in Teflon tubes, pre-installed and glued along the boom, so the push rods are in there. At the tail end of the fuselage, this is going to be the same for both F3J and F5J. Let's take this tape off so we can get a better look at what's going on back here. You see that there's this sort of molded in pylon. The elevator sits on top. This screw secures the elevator to the fuselage. So I'll show you how this works real quick. Basically, put your elevator on, this screw goes through the elevator into the fuselage, secures the elevator to the fuselage, then you install the rudder over that. The rudder aligns on this screw. The screw is basically like a dowel, and then another screw goes in from the bottom, clamping the rudder to the elevator and to the fuselage. So that's very nice. System back here for rudder and elevator are L-bends. You can see this L-bend here. The L-bend's already pre-installed on the push rods, so you can install and remove your tail parts pretty quickly with the L-bends, both elevator and rudder. Little interesting quirks with the elevator control horn and geometry, and I'll go over that in a bit when I show you guys the tail. But in general, the fuselages of these models are very nice. This is one of my favorite features of the models. Fuselages are gorgeous, quality is great. Just really good looking airplane. That's one of the things I really like about it. So again, F5J fuselage, and we have the heavier 2.4 friendly F3J fuselage. Oh, and one more thing, tow hook is installed in the F3J fuselage, obviously an adjustable tow hook. Here's a rudder for the Infinity. Huge moving portion, so should have a pretty good rudder authority. Quality is very nice, the finish is nice. There's not a lot of that kind of orange peely look that a lot of solid core parts have. Paint surface is nice. Again, these are newer parts from the previous generation of the Infinity. They have their solid core, and they have a thinner airfoil, so they're a little lighter and stiffer in general. This is the dowel that goes through the elevator into the fuselage, and then you run a screw in through the bottom to secure the tails to the fuselage. Rudder is very nice. Here's the elevator. Same construction as the rudder. Finish is good. Carbon on the bottom. This is the control horn for the elevator that I was talking about. It's a little long, it's a little weird. I don't know if it's ideal geometry for something like this. You really have to be careful and try to use the longest possible servo arm you can on your elevator servo. Just keep that in mind when you're building the model and for the layout. You want to use a pretty long arm. A few people have built this with shorter arms and the servo arm on the servo at 90 degrees, and they're having trouble getting a lot of down throw. As you can imagine, this is canted forward and your push rod is pulling on this, so there's only a certain amount of pulling it can do before it reaches basically a mechanical limit. When I build one of these, I'm going to know for sure, and we'll see how that goes. I hear for F5J it's perfectly adequate. I'm worried a little bit about F3J getting a lot of down throw for the harder and faster F3J landings, but we'll see what happens with that. I think it'll be fine. Assembly goes like this, basically. This aluminum pin goes in the elevator. I don't want to force it, it's pretty tight. I would recommend running some 200 to 300 grit sandpaper rolled up through here a few times to loosen that up and get everything fitting nicely, so you can easily assemble these parts at the field without too much trouble. You don't want to be forcing this on here. If you have to force it, basically you haven't opened up the hole enough. So just a little bit of sandpaper, a little bit of time, test fit. If it's still tight, a little more. Just keep doing that until you get a really nice fit, and that's all it takes to make these two parts go together really nicely. Again, they're really good looking parts. Quality is very nice. The elevator control horn, something that's not the best, but if it works and you get enough throw each direction, then there's really no problem with it, but we'll see how that goes. Alright, time for a closer look at the Infinity wing. This is a F5J wing, but it's going to be identical for the Again, 3.5 meter, two-piece wing. Very nice quality. One of my favorite features about this wing is that the gap seal on the flap is a tape hinge, and sometimes tape hinges are a pain in the ass because they can easily, if you overextend, they can pop up and you have to shove them back in the wing. But they're really long on this, and I flex these at 90 degrees and they don't come out. But why I really like these is because a lot of times if you have a hard landing with either F5J or F3J and you have these solid epoxy wipers, the wipers will damage the trailing edge of your wing, especially on a hollow molded wing like this, and you can end up with a really chipped up and damaged area on your wing skins back here, and that's just not going to happen with these reflective tape gap seals. So I think it's a really good feature of this wing. Same thing with the aileron. Now, I said before there's a couple things I don't like about the wing, and I'll show you that right now. Hopefully you can see it. But there's sort of like a mold line right here at the bend on the top, and again on the bottom. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'll try to move it around so you can. And then, as well, out on the tip, there's another little mold line. It's very, very hard to see. It's very discreet, but it's there. Top. And not on the bottom, but it is on the top. And I think what these are is these are pieces of the mold that, I don't know if the mold is one piece. I think he had sections of the mold and put them together to make the mold, and these are where the molds come together. I don't know. It's very superficial. The paint is over it. It's not a mask line in the paint or anything like that. It's something in the mold. Again, very superficial. I don't know. Maybe a little polishing would have helped with that on the molds, but that's one thing that I don't like so much about it. The control surfaces seem plenty big, so I think with a plane this size and this weight and this wingspan, it's going to be very responsive. Here's the tip shape. It's not your typical curved tip like a Supra or a Perfection or something like that. It's more of a pointy tip. That can be okay, we'll see how it flies. You know, I've heard reports this plane flies really well. One of my friends has one. He says it flies like a DLG. So you know, obviously I think the wing design they did a pretty good job on. I don't know if I can show you guys how thin this wing is. I don't have much room here, but the airfoil is very, very thin, so it should penetrate well. And it might be very camber critical as far as flying goes. You might have to have several different camber settings for cruise and thermal and things like that. You might want to cruise around with a couple of millimeters of camber. We'll see how it goes. We'll get one of these flying here pretty soon. Again, the Servorahmen LDS is installed on the control surfaces, and I'll show you how it goes in the servo bay. You see you have the harness already in the wing, the plug. The plug is installed on the wing already for you, so you don't have to do any work here. And here, this is the Servorahmen piece. Basically, it's all hooked up at the surface. The arm is supplied. So if you were to buy Servorahmen frames for whatever servo IDS frames, you basically just install your servo, hook these arms up to the hubs in the Servorahmen kit. So it's not much. It's not really any more work than any other kind of servo installation. Again, you can order these from the factory with servos installed, covers in place. Basically, no work left to do on the wing if you choose to. It's very hard for me to know what kind of servos people want to use, so I try not to stock planes that have servos already installed. But again, arms are in the wing. All you got to do is buy Servorahmen IDS frames for your servos of choice and just install them in the wing. But there's a closer look at the wing. The finish is very good. The quality is good. You know, all the cuts on the hinge lines and everything are clean, crisp. Again, quality is up to par with anything else that's on the market right now. Really nice parts. He did a really good job with these. So there's a quick look at the wing. Alright, here's a quick look at the ballast setup on the Infinity. There's a tube behind the joiner in the fuselage with a carbon, it's actually a carbon tube, so it's not just a hole in the fuselage. There's a carbon tube going from side to side. The ballast rod has a little push ball in here. You simply just take the rod, slide it in the fuse, and that's it. It's good to go. You know, easy removal, easy installation. One of the really nice features of the Infinity. All right, there's a first look at the Infinity NG available at flightcomp. Initial impressions are very good. I think the build quality is very good, on par with just about anything that's available out there right now. I think the model offers a good value for money, considering that you get the ballast with the model and the bags and a pretty extensive hardware kit, and you get the IDS installed in the surfaces on the wing. I think it represents a really good value. It's hard for me to say this is the next best thing. I haven't flown it. I really want to. I hope to have one flying in a few weeks and give you my impressions. All I can go by right now is what I see in front of me, and that's the quality of the parts and the fit and finish, and all that is really good. So impressed so far, and we'll wait and see how it flies. I think it might be a winner. You know, I mean, it's not a 4-meter airplane. It's only 3.5, but that's all right. You know, the 3.5 meter might work really well. So we'll see how it goes. I hope I can make more product videos like this in the future. I moved my business to a different location. I have more room. I'm still setting up. That's why I'm just working behind this blank wall. Hopefully I'll have more time to make more product videos for you guys. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you soon in the next one.